Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan Lugo. Thanks so much for tuning in here on Monday, December 2nd. After going back and watching the tape, we've got some game balls to hand out. Jaguars, they did lose to the Texans 23-20, but at least this was a game that was interesting to watch. Like the last game they played in Jacksonville without Trevor Lawrence, that offense was just unbearable to watch against the Minnesota Vikings. And the defense, they made some big plays on the football, but Sam Darnold, it looked like he was seeing ghosts out there playing for the New York Jets again. It wasn't like the defense played a great football game against the Vikings. And then both sides of the ball were completely atrocious against the Lions. So when you lose Trevor Lawrence, you're expecting that same thing to happen again. That's not quite what happened. So there's some good to take away from both sides of the ball. Obviously didn't get the job done. And now you're at a point in the season where you have literally 0% chance to win your division, basically 0% chance to make the playoffs, less than 1%. The Broncos are the 7th seed right now. They have a chance to get to 8 wins tonight. So stop talking about the playoffs, right? But we can talk about players that deserve to be talked about in a positive way here, because there's 5 games left. We're going to have to watch these games. They might be meaningless from a record standpoint, from trying to compete for the playoffs, but there's still young players trying to develop. There's still guys trying to fight for their jobs, trying to earn contracts elsewhere, etc. It still means something. It absolutely does. So we're going to dive into the tape a little bit, talk about these guys. I really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You can also check out genjag.com/shop, pick up the new Duval gear, become a channel member here on YouTube. We do have our Cyber Monday deal going on today. Code Duval, that's 3 U's, DUUUVAL, 50% off everything at genjag.com. So getting into these game balls. First off, got to give one to Evan Ingram and Jarian Jones for really defending their quarterback, and a lot of folks did. Saw D'Amico Ryans kind of condemn what the Jaguars did, overreacting to the hit on Trevor Lawrence, and it certainly was not an overreaction. D'Amico Ryans standing by his player, I can understand, and I think Kai Stevens said this on Twitter. Standing by your player is one thing. Saying that the Jaguars overreacted to that hit is an entirely different beast, and I think he's full of it. And I think John McClain said, and he's been covering the Texans forever, if D'Amico Ryans was on that sideline and his quarterback got hit that way, he would have popped up and been the first one defending him. So look, Jarian Jones coming off the bench, swinging, sticking up for his guy, absolutely. Evan Ingram, sticking up for his guy, absolutely. Walker Little, going over to try to make sure Trevor's okay, absolutely. Everybody involved in trying to defend their quarterback, game balls to all of you, right? And Trevor Lawrence was not playing a good game of football before that. I think it was 2 drives, though. Like, you need some time to get in rhythm. He had a couple missed throws. Maybe it was 3 drives, but Trevor Lawrence deserves a game ball for everything he's had to put up with since being in Jacksonville. But as far as actual on the field offensive players that went out there and, in my opinion, helped the Jaguars play a competitive game, which is at this point all you can ask for, is for the Jaguars to play competitive, entertaining football down the stretch, see some young guys develop, right? Because you're not really playing for much else at this point. But Parker Washington is absolutely one of those young players who, in my opinion, had a game that's worth noting. He caught 6 of 12 targets. He did have one unfortunate drop. He had another one, though, in the end zone where if Mac Jones delivered a little bit better pass, and Doug Peterson mentioned it, if Mac Jones delivered a little bit better pass, you're talking about another touchdown for Parker Washington. He had 6 catches for 103 yards and a touchdown. He had to be targeted a ton today because, again, you're without Christian Kirk. You're without Gabe Davis. Parker Washington has to step up, and he did that. So it's another step in the right direction for a young player who the Jaguars drafted, I think, 6th round last year, 5th round. A guy I thought should have been a borderline top 100 pick, was coming off of an injury heading into 2023. Didn't get much run last year. but he's shown signs of being a player the Jaguars could potentially rely on in the future, and this was more evidence pointing towards that. Thought Brian Thomas Jr., the way they continue to get him involved, and we talk about it every week, are y'all going to get Brian Thomas Jr. more involved? Well, he had 10 targets in this one. Not all of them were perfect. He wasn't perfect. He had a drop on the day, but he also got a carry in this game, picked up a first down on that carry, and it was a creative way to get him the ball. I gave the offensive staff a little kudos for that one, getting him into the backfield, and then kind of the lateral pitch to him. I thought that was impressive, but he had 4 catches for 76 yards, showed off his speed, showed off his athleticism, found the end zone. Should have found the end zone earlier, maybe, if he could have hauled that one in, maybe a little bit of difficult catch there. But Brian Thomas Jr. continues to just be impressive, right? I mean, 87 total yards, a touchdown, a guy that, again, is helping you to try to stay competitive in these football games. Now, beyond that offensively, I thought Mac Jones absolutely had his best day as a Jaguars quarterback and didn't play the whole game. He did throw a lot of footballs, though, the Jaguars in comeback mode a little bit. He went 20 of 32, had 235 yards, 2 touchdowns. Again, yes, he missed some throws. He also made some really nice throws down the field as well for the Jaguars. Did a good enough job to help them stay competitive in this football game. And again, I'm going to keep saying it. Without Trevor Lawrence, the best you can hope for is competitive, right? Because we've seen what it's looked like without Trevor Lawrence before playing the Texans. Those 2 games were unwatchable offensively. They were. Now, Walker Little, he got a lot of flack yesterday before that game. You know, signing his 3-year, $45 million deal, $15 million per year for Walker Little, Jaguars starting left tackle. And he's going to be around here for at least a couple more years now. He and his entire offensive line did a really good job protecting the quarterbacks against a very dangerous Houston Texans pass rush. 0 sacks allowed, 5 pressures by the entire offensive line. But Walker Little especially, you know, I think he had already earned his payday. And I think he went out there and showed that. Didn't allow a quarterback hit. I think allowed 1 pressure. He got pushed in the running game. He played really well. Anton Harrison played really well. Ezra Cleveland continues to impress me. I think that, you know, Mitch and Brandon Sheriff are doing the best that they can out there. Older veterans doing a good job in pass pro overall. Struggle to create push in the run game, but doing a good job. So, yeah, offensively, there was enough to make it watchable, even with a lot of backups in the game. We're going to talk about the defense as well, but first, got to remind you all to check out Underdog Fantasy for Pick'em and a whole lot more. You can use code Duval Daily on their easy-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash Pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. This season, Underdog is running a special promo or bonus almost every single day. Like Profit Boost, you can pump up your winnings in just a tap when you apply the boost to eligible entries. Maybe you want to take a look at tonight's game. A little bit of intrigue there. Denver and Cleveland playing in Denver. Should be a clear night. Maybe you want to take some running backs to find the end zone. Underdog has vulture protection to rescue your pick'em if your running back gets vultured. Again, that's Underdog Fantasy, promo code Duval Daily to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 18 plus, 90 plus Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Massachusetts and Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Void in Colorado. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncbgambling.org. Arizona 1-800-NEXT-STEP. That's 1-800-639-8783 or text NEXT STEP to 53342. New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8 Hope NY or text Hope NY 467-369. Shout out to Underdog Fantasy. If you're supporting them, you're supporting us. So defensively, they were close a lot. They were, and they struggled with Joe Mixon, especially down the stretch. He's been a Jaguar killer throughout his career, and we've got Murray getting a little frustrated. Come here, wanting to hang out, wanting to talk some ball with us. So yeah. Joe Mixon's been a Jaguar killer throughout his career. Super talented running back. Nico Collins, Jaguar killer as well. 8 catches on 11 targets and 119 yards. they had a tough time with him. And Tyson Campbell left the game, obviously, which hurt the Jaguars defense. But some guys who did show out, I thought the linebacker play overall was pretty darn strong. Devin Lloyd was targeted 5 times in coverage, allowed 7 yards, and he was flying to the ball. Thought this was one of his best games as Jaguar, and he gets so much flack. I think it's because of the draft position, all that stuff, trading up to get him, playing off ball linebacker. But I think he's a player the Jaguars are going to, whoever's making decisions, is probably going to view as a starter moving forward. And Ventrell is making it competitive. He is. And maybe I would not make the decision to move on from Foye at all. But, maybe from a financial standpoint, whoever's making decisions might looks and say, hey, we've got good young linebackers here. Why do we need to be paying top of the market? I would not do that. I think Foye Oluokun himself had a pretty good day. Not as solid, but a pretty good day for Foye Oluokun as well. He had a really nice pass breakup early on. I thought he got a little bit worn down throughout the contest, but I thought the linebackers for the Jaguars did a good job. I thought that the Texans did a really good job on the edge in the run game with Joe Mixon. The Jaguars' defensive line didn't do as good of a job in the run defense department as you would typically like. And just in case y'all are wondering, the Foye Oluokun contract, they're not moving on from that at least probably until 2027 unless they trade him based on the way that thing's structured. So, and I'm happy with that. I don't want Foye Oluokun going anywhere. I think he's a really good football player, even if he does cost a pretty penny, right? But the linebackers I thought did really well. And then, Josh Hines-Allen made some big plays. Trayvon Walker made some big plays. Were they as consistent as you need them to be in this game? Probably not. But you also had CJ Stroud just doing CJ Stroud things, right? Like you get pressure, you move him off his spot, and he's able to maneuver the pocket or escape the pocket and do enough to hurt you. And again, the Jaguars on the back end, they struggle to cover. They really do. So that's a tough situation. Did want to shout out one more guy, Mason Smith. Far from perfect for him, but it was cool just seeing him on the field and seeing the physical ability, because even when he's not making a positive play, you see the physical ability. You see the athleticism, the strength, the burst, the explosiveness. I don't know why they didn't want to get him on the field earlier in the year, and then he was dealing with an ankle injury. But for me, Mason Smith, I still think has an exciting future. I do. So that'll do it for this one. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Y'all have a good one.